Oh, that's not our setup. What's going on, everyone? We got to change up the setup here. We want live stream. There we go. All right. Different setup. We're not recording a video right now. How's it going, everyone? Hopefully you can see and hear me. I'll make sure. Goodness grief. I'll make sure we're good. All right. We're good on the mic. Excellent. All right. How's it going? We're going to do 2 drafts again. 2 drafts seems to be a good point. I think we'll probably do 2 Best Ball Mania. I was kind of looking through things. When are they going to put another puppy up? I don't know. It's been forever for the puppy. Puppy is everyone's favorite draft. I don't understand why we're not getting more of them. But we'll do probably Best Ball Mania because the only other one is like the Corgi, which I don't like as much as the puppy. And I have a million Best Ball Manias to do. So we're gonna do one of those. Have to join on my phone. So if you guys want to join in, do it now in like 10 seconds. I'll join it. You guys are on a delay. And then fire away questions in the chat so we can maybe answer a couple of those before we get things started. All right. I will join 20-second. It's always 20-second in the videos. And let's see. I'll have to refresh this page. Down here, it's 4 out of 12. So you guys can definitely get into it if you want. Did they change the layout? This is definitely different, right? I don't know if I'm going crazy here on the desktop version. I always draft on my phone, so I don't really notice. But this is certainly a different just like setup for the drafts. I think I like it. The boxes seem a little weird. Were they square before? But whatever. Seems different. All right. Yeah, it is. No, it's for sure a different UI. Like 100% is. Okay. What round are you drafting Keenan Allen in? I'm assuming that means best ball right now. 17. I don't think there's any reason to really put him earlier than 17. He goes in 17. A lot of times he's there in 18. So if you draft him in 16, you're going to get him in like 75% of your teams, which you do not need to do. In a season-long league, that last pick, basically. If he's going on 17, 18 underdog, that's probably around 19, 20 in redraft. So you're good to just take him in whatever the final round is. Again, I think especially if you were drafting redraft this early, he's a slam dunk pick you have to make. Because if not, it's like that whole general last pick you're making in redraft. I mean, that is a flyer pick anyways, and it's someone that you're probably dropping at some point in like the off season for hype. So 100% draft players that aren't on teams, draft him, draft Marty Cooper, and just see what happens. If they don't join a team, drop them for someone else come, late July, late August before the season even starts. So it doesn't even hurt you at all in a redraft league. But underdog, yeah, 17, 18, limit risk there a little bit. You just don't kind of draft him in 16. Okay, I do like it a little bit. I think I like the UI change slightly. One thing we got to talk about is Justin Jefferson. So I think tomorrow I'm probably going to push an update that has Jefferson at 2. I still think Saquon's a better pick, but I'm going to put Jefferson at 2 just so that we actually get some of him. It's becoming a thing now where Chase always goes 1. He's gone 1 the entire summer. But Jefferson's going 2 in the vast majority of drafts I've seen. And then Bijan's going before Saquon pretty much all the time. So if I keep the rankings how they have them right now, you'll get Chase in a general amount. You'll probably be even with the field. But then you'll end up with Saquon on like 25% of your teams. And so it becomes a little bit risky taking that much of a stand. And you'll probably only end up with Jefferson in like, I don't know, at this point, like 5%, which we don't want. We want to be even on the field on Chase, even on Jefferson. If we want to take stands with Bijan and Saquon being a little bit ahead of the field, that is fine. But we do not want to be underweight like Chase Jefferson. It's happened so many times recently that Jefferson's always going 2 that I think I just have to put him at 2. And I think you should be taking him at 2 because if you're treating this like you should and you're breaking apart, you got $100, you're doing as many drafts, as many low dollar drafts as possible. You want to get an even exposure to a lot of these people in the first round, especially. And it's just, this is how it's been happening. It's been Chase, Jefferson, Bijan. I got Saquon at 7 today in one of my drafts. So it doesn't end up going that way. We'll take Lamb, which I'm perfectly fine with. But yeah, it's been happening to where these guys are falling a lot. So something to keep in mind that we shouldn't take Saquon at 2 if we're consistently getting him at 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. question just popped up. So if you're even on round 1, guys, which round do you start diversifying exposure? So I think even on Chase Jefferson, just because they're so good and have such a weekly ceiling that like I'd be terrified to fade them. So I would want to especially be even on Chase, Jefferson, Bijan, Saquon, Lamb, Gibbs. It's a clear top 6. You shouldn't be taking any fades on that point. I would say starting at 7, if you've got takes, maybe you hate McCaffrey and you want to fade him. I think that's fine. It's probably a little bit too risky given that he can be number 1 overall, but that's fine. If you want to take a stand on like Puka over Nico, Amon-Ra, Brian Thomas, that whole range, if you want to take stands, that's fine. I would not have like 1% exposure to anyone in round 1. Into round 2, I think it becomes more fine. Into round 3, I think it's totally fine. Round 3 on, if you want to have 0% exposure, on Friday, we're going to talk about 6 players that I have at like 1% or less, and some of them have none. And like I have 0% exposure to a player going in round 3. So like round 3 on, totally fine having a complete fade on a player, especially if you're not doing like 500 drafts. Like if you're only doing like 20 to 30, it's absolutely fine. Round 2, it becomes more viable. Just round 1, these guys are so good and so locked in that I really wouldn't do like a really strong stand. But again, especially the top 6. All right. Question for you. You're in a 3 wide receiver, 2 flex, full PPR league. Crazy to go 4 to 5 wide receivers in the first 6 rounds. Absolutely not. You can start 5 every single week. You obviously wouldn't like starting 6 straight receivers is probably a little bit too aggressive. But if you went 4 in the first 6 rounds, that's viable. 5 in the first 6 rounds, it's full PPR. You can start 5. That should be your goal, is to start 5 receivers every single week. You are going to hit more on season long. Like there's just a lower bust rate at wide receiver. I think it should be your goal, honestly, to have 4 of them. And 5 is fine. Okay. We took Lamb, gotten him here. I would be good with Ladd. I'd be good with Bowers. I actually do think there's a mini tier break after that. I don't think it's anything crazy, but a mini tier break. So kind of nice. We're definitely going to get one of them. And Ladd is who we'll go with. There's not really very many bad things you can say about Ladd McConkey. Even on a team that wasn't hyperly pass heavy, he was amazing as a rookie. Underlying metrics are fantastic. We know that Herbert is a trusted quarterback. We know the coaching staff is good. We know the situation is good. Just there's nothing bad you can say about Ladd. So a Lamb Ladd start, definitely something I'm liking right now. Okay, it's going to be this one. Okay. It'll be quick on our next one. I'm good going 3 receiver. It's something I do a decent amount at this spot because it's kind of unlikely. I actually pulled this back down. The running backs I would draft here, like I would want Bucky, and it's unlikely I get Jacobs. And so you're looking at basically Chase Brown potentially at 29. He's just typically not there. But we could go with Chase Brown. I would definitely like Marv. I wouldn't go with the quarterback. I would definitely go with McBride, and I would do it in this order, as you can see with the rankings. Marvin McBride kind of becomes a gut feel type thing. Oh, no. Is it just going to go all in a row of the ones we wanted? I'd like McBride here. If not, we'll probably go Garrett Wilson and make a Garrett Wilson team. I don't get Garrett Wilson much, but maybe his ADP is falling a little bit. Yeah, that kind of stinks, but we're actually going to talk about Garrett Wilson and the players that that video is alluding to for Friday. Excuse me. I have 2% exposure to Garrett Wilson. And I mentioned in the video that, he's someone that I could see getting to like 5% because I can see the outcome and it's a correlated bet, right? So at this point, my goal is to draft Justin Fields. He goes around pick 100. We're going to have picks 92 and 101. So probably at 92, I'll just take Justin Fields and say, okay, I am betting that Garrett Wilson, at this point, if you draft him at this ADP, you're betting on like 160 targets for Garrett Wilson. And you're just betting on this offense being decent, him getting to like 6 or 7 touchdowns. The expectation isn't that great. Maybe less run heavy than we think. And that's your bet for him paying off this ADP because it's unlikely that he pays off his ADP if that does not happen. And if that occurs, then Justin Fields is going to be an amazing pick. So you want to be taking him at 92. But yeah, I just don't get Wilson that much. But this draft basically went, I don't want to say worst case scenario, but very close to worst case scenario for how I want to draft. Tyreek Hill at 15 is crazy. I've been hammering him at this like 29 pick. That's wild that he goes that early now. But I like grabbing that like third wide receiver of like T, Rasheed, Marv, and then I like getting McBride. And also like when JT or Bucky fall. But it kind of just happened that everyone basically drafted how they should. And so I would say the first to take this tier of Wilson, Terry McLaurin, Adams, JSN. I think that's kind of like a tier on its own with kind of Evans at the end of that tier. But it at least allows us to get a little bit of Garrett Wilson, whereas we're not drafting him at all. I don't want a full fade on him, but in a redraft league, I'm probably not end up going with him. It's just, it's perfectly valid to go wide receiver heavy in this format. Also nice to see two teams near us at this turn have two running back teams. They're probably not going to be very running back heavy for the rest of this draft. And so we can know that in our minds that if there's a running back we want to fade a little bit until our next pick, like see if they don't go in these 8, it's actually a little bit more likely that they do, especially with these two guys going running back in round 1. Okay, we're going to be up here, and then I will answer questions soon. Pick 44. It's another spot where my rankings absolutely say wide receiver. We cannot go tight end. We don't have a stacking partner with Hurt, so I probably wouldn't go there. Metcalf, I think, makes a lot of sense for us. If we wanted running back, it would be Hampton, and I like him. But I think I would prefer to go Metcalf because I think those teams are going to hammer wide receiver. And so if I'm right, we're not going to be getting a wide receiver we want at this next pick. And at least there's a chance we can get one of Hampton, Ken Walker, or Mixon. We're going to be at pick 53. I don't want Chuba. Okay, well, we don't get Hampton. But Ken Walker or Mixon would be two that we'd want. I'm not a Chuba really fan this year, but I mean, I would still take obviously J-Mo, Devonta Smith. Pickens would actually be fantastic. He might actually be the best pick because we could stack that with CeeDee Lamb. Maybe Travis Hunter. Actually, okay, so there's going to be 4 picks left. That's our 5th one. So we're going to get one of these guys. This, I think, is how I'd order it. Pickens, Ken Walker, Mixon. And if those 3 go, we'll take J-Mo. If all of them go, it would honestly be very unfortunate because I think Travis Hunter kind of represents a tier below. And for us, Mixon is just more valuable. Okay, we're going to get one of them just because we don't have the running back yet. Like, I'm cool fading it, but... Oh, nice. Okay. And I do think Ken Walker is a step above Mixon. So we're going to get one of Pickens or Ken Walker. This is a good start. Okay, we don't get the super stack, but Ken Walker probably makes a lot more sense with our team. Good situation. I think he's by far the best running back on that team. The coaching staff historically is supported very high in fantasy producers. We had 4 receivers already, so it makes sense to go there. I wanted to mention something with Metcalf. I was looking. I want to pull this up, actually. We'll see. Go red zone targets last season. Receiving. And we'll find Metcalf. Look at this monstrosity. I'll be up in a second. DK Metcalf had 7 red zone targets last season and 5 inside the 10-yard line. I mean, look at all these players getting more targets than DK Metcalf in the red zone. Isn't that wild? Where was he? I want to see on Seattle. Like, what the heck was Seattle doing in the red zone? Like, truly. JSN got 1 million targets. Lockett got 1 million targets. Ken Walker out-targeted Metcalf. AJ Barner got the same number of targets in the red zone as Metcalf. Like, what? I don't know. That's just wild to me. So it kind of just popped into my mind. Go there. It kind of, I don't know, just popped into my mind that it's like they were not using him in the red zone. He's a physical freak. What if like Rodgers just kind of locks in on Metcalf, is just hyper targeting him in the red zone this season, and Metcalf has like 14 receiving touchdowns? Like, I feel like we've all been waiting for that season because it's like so obvious that he's a freak that you should just be chucking him the ball every time you get into the red zone, and they didn't. And I don't know, it just feels weird to me. So it was just something I saw today when kind of looking at the video. Didn't talk about Metcalf in that video, but it was interesting to me. You're so out of the loop compared to 5 years ago. Your whole season's relying on you. If you're out of the loop at this point, you got time. I mean, we got 2 months till the start of the season, so plenty of time to kind of catch up. Okay, we don't have any Bengals players, so we can't really do the Burrow stack. Travion, Jeudy, and Addison. Those are probably the 3 players we're looking at here. Travion, again, makes sense because we went so wide receiver heavy. Jeudy is someone I want to be getting on my teams a lot. But I don't think Travion does go. Okay. Well, it looks like we ended up going with Jerry Jeudy because I don't think I want to go with Swift. That's a reach at this point. Hawkinson's a reach at this point. And again, I don't think Burrow. I have so much Burrow with Chase, Burrow with Higgins. Like, I have so much of that I don't want to draft a team that has Burrow, assumes that Burrow has a great season, but doesn't have Chase, doesn't have Higgins. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Plenty of people are going to have it. So we'll let this person, they got T with it. Yeah, we'll let them have that. I'll pull up the draft board at our next one. I want to keep it up for now just so we can kind of think about this pick, because this will be an important pick. Pick 77 for us. At this point, Swift, Judkins, Caleb. Again, we need running back. Those make the most sense. I don't think I want to go receiver. I don't think these guys are going to grab their 3rd running back here. It would be a kind of a weird move for like multiple of them to take that. I'm not going Hawkinson, though, and I'm not going quarterback. So it's only running back or receiver. Oh my gosh, they're all just going to hammer running back? What are people doing? Okay, so if they do a hammer running back, do we go? I guess we go with Shakir. Don't have anything else there. I've been thinking Golden, like, should Golden be ahead of Shakir in the rankings? Just because of the explosiveness, the potential of that offense. All right, good. We can get Caleb. That would have been a little bit annoying if everyone just decided to go super running back heavy. All right, there's the draft board. I think the start is good. Lamb, Ladd, Garrett Wilson, Metcalf, Jeudy, and then we've got Ken Walker and Caleb. Next pick will hopefully go with Fields, and I mean, I would assume Fields, and maybe, I don't know, we could try and fade Fields to 101 because 2 teams there already have it. We'll see. We'll see how we're feeling at that spot. All right. Thoughts on Breece Hall? Oh, thoughts on Breece Hall dynasty-wise? I lost everything. All right. Would you do Harvey straight up for him? The only issue with doing Harvey, I'll check what I have, is just like there is still unknown, whereas you kind of know what Breece Hall is. No. Yeah, I wouldn't do Harvey straight for Breece Hall. We know Breece Hall is good. I know there's like weird reporting about like, not trusting him, doing the 3 different backs. Like, Breece Hall is the best running back on that team. He's a great player. We think Harvey's going to be good. We think he's going to be great. We don't know it. And so I would still prefer Breece Hall. Plus, Harvey's older than you'd think. I don't have the exact age here, but he's like 24 years old. Like, I feel like the difference between him and Hall isn't even that much. So I would still prefer Breece Hall. I think maybe right now is actually time to buy low on Breece Hall. The vibes are not good around him. I would probably buy low. Who would you pick 6th overall in a 12-man full PPR? Also, what strategy is best for a mid-round pick? Well, strategy is always dependent on what happens in your draft. My rankings right now for full PPR are Chase, Bijan, Justin Jefferson, Saquon, CeeDee Lamb, and Gibbs. So whoever's left after that top 6 is a pretty good spot because that is a pretty clear range. Those are pretty clearly the top 6 players. If you end up with a running back, you're probably going the hero RB build. End up with a wide receiver. You probably want a running back in rounds 2 or 3 and to almost treat them like a hero, but then maybe move up running back a little bit earlier. But I would say hero is the best strategy. If you could get Gibbs at that spot, if he falls to you there, and then just like don't draft another running back for, I don't know, until like at least round 6, that's probably the move. Okay. Looking at everyone here, we're at 92. I would have wanted Mooney there. At 92, I like Hawkinson. I don't want a wide receiver. I don't really want any of these running backs. I don't have Kyler, or I don't have, I think we fade it and we go Jefferson after. I think we go Hawkinson and hope we can get Fields after that. I think that's the play. Because Kyler, I don't have anyone on Arizona, and I would want that. I'd want one of McBride or Marv on every Kyler team. Bo Nix, you can stack them later, but wouldn't really make sense for us to reach on him right now. Like there's no real point of doing that. Plus, I leave more quarterbacks on the board, so I just kind of hope that these teams, 2 of them already have a quarterback. Maybe some of these guys don't want them. Like, give them other options other than Justin Fields. They'd also be taking naked Fields, which is totally fine, but obviously better if they had Garrett Wilson like I do. So let's cross our finger for Fields. If we don't get Fields, we're not going to reach on Dak yet. Dak will be an option for us the round after. I don't think I would take a quarterback if we didn't get Fields. I was going to say I would take Jaylen Warren. He's not going to be there. I would consider Cooper Kupp if we didn't get him. I don't think that I would go tight end. So kind of put in a bad spot. Hopefully just both don't get taken. I don't think like it wouldn't make sense for these teams to draft Fields. An uncorrelated Fields with Kyler. I just don't see how that's the best way to build there. And then yeah, I just don't see it happening, but at least we'll get Cooper Kupp if that does occur. All right. Is Dante Thornton a pickup over Miles Sanders in Dynasty? I mean, hold on. We'll just make sure we get this pick in. Good. All right. Things are looking good. The team is looking strong. Fields to Garrett Wilson stack, good at wide receiver, good at running back. I think this team is doing great. I don't know. I mean, Thornton is just a complete dart throw. So is Miles Sanders. But right now, I feel like I would prefer to just keep Miles Sanders. There's a chance that he wins the starting job and skyrockets in value. If it doesn't happen, honestly, I feel like Thornton's still going to be there come camp. So I don't think I would make that move in Dynasty. We do have a super chat. Okay. You're in a full PPR super flex auction league. Okay, where you get a keeper. Who would you keep? Bowers for $17, Brian Thomas Jr. for $23. Total budget is $250. Okay, so those are really, really good Dynasty values. Let me pull up. You said it was full PPR. Okay, I'll pull up the auction values I have in full PPR. Dynasty Superflex option value for Brian Thomas Jr. $43. So, and I have it based on 200. We're just going to make it on 200 here. You have good value on both of them, so they're both great picks. But based on a 200, that would be $20 of value. I have Bowers at 28, so you're looking at 11 of value. Yeah, I think I would probably go Brian Thomas Jr. It being super flex favors wide receiver just a little bit. You're typically going to have a quarterback in that spot, but if you don't in full PPR, it's going to be a receiver. So receiver just gains a little bit more value than tight end does. Brian Thomas Jr. pretty obviously either a late first round, early second round pick. Bowers, you could argue that there are some phenomenal values at tight end in the later rounds. And so, I mean, you might have the ability to draft 2 tight ends that are really, really good later on for like a couple bucks each, like $2 each. And you could even argue that maybe that ends up being a better value for your team, even though obviously Bowers there is a good value. So I think Brian Thomas Jr. $23 is just such a safe, locked in pick. And in your format, I think is a little bit more beneficial to you. Okay, so we're not going to get the stack with Dak. That's fine. We already got the field stack, so we're good there. At tight end, we're not going tight end. At wide receiver, we're not touching that. At running back, we'll take Cam. I don't know that I want any of those running backs, though. Drake May, I like. I think the play is probably Cam, especially because we can go with McCarthy maybe in the next round. We could go with Justin Herbert after that. We need running back. I think Cam makes sense. I think it also makes sense that his ADP is dropping a little bit. I'm very, very excited for camp. Like that's one of the ones I got to watch. Like I want to see every single beat report out of camp because I think that like this battle between these two, and it could be Cam or it could be Tyron Tracy, whichever one of them like really separates, I think they are a pretty good value. Now, there's the chance right now that it's like, oh, it's just going to be two back committee on a bad team. And we're like, that's not that great. But really, I don't know. I'm kind of excited for that battle because I think there's a potential that Scadaboo could win the job, be the passing down back, and that could add a lot of value. But there's also the potential that Tyron Tracy Jr. could just be like, nope, I'm way more explosive. I'm a better running back. You're not explosive in any way. I can still pass catch. And maybe he's a feature back. Like, I don't know what's going to happen. So very excited to see what happens there. Okay. Are your rankings purely projection based? I wonder how to best use the rankings to consider overall ceiling of a player. Should I follow rankings to a T, consider upside more for the later rounds? I would say follow them to a T for the early rounds, through round in a 12-team league, round like 7, 8. Realistically, the players that have a higher ceiling, I have a higher projection on. Like I'm taking that into account in the projection. So that takes fold there. Once you hit, especially double-digit rounds, you should always be having your ceiling cap on, just thinking like, what is the best outcome for this player? And maybe you can start to deviate. You can also start to reach. Once you hit round 12, reach on whatever you want. Like I really don't care. If you want to reach 2 rounds ahead of ADP, it truly doesn't matter that late. Just get your guys. So I would say definitely the top like 7, 8 rounds, just go based on the rankings. If you start to get into like, 9, 10, 11, you can definitely start to deviate a decent amount. And 12 on, just go with your guys. Take whoever you want. But projections are going to be pretty good for the first like 7, 8 rounds. I would pretty much just go based on that. Okay, I think Herbert makes sense for us. We have Ladd. We want Ladd to have a great year. Bye week's going to be different than Fields, so if we needed a 2-quarterback build, we can do it. I don't think any of the running backs at this point are standing out to me. Wide receivers don't stand out to me. Tight ends are fine, but not a great value. I think just makes sense. Grab Justin Herbert there. All right, I like how it's working out. We have our 2 good stacks with our quarterbacks. We have enough at running back right now. We're still going to need to hit on a couple more, probably a 5 running back build. Unless we wait too long, then it could be 6. But I think things are going good. Harvey's behind a better offensive line and better play caller. Certainly, but again, a rookie. And we think that Harvey's going to be really good, but we don't know. We know that Breece Hall is a very good running back. We don't know that Harvey is. And so there's just a little bit more risk in the rookies. Just not knowing. Again, I love him. I'm the ultimate like Harvey believer, but Harvey is still like a mid-first round pick in Dynasty, like rookie drafts. Breece Hall, if he was going this year, would be going earlier, I think, in rookie drafts. But Harvey I love also because of the defense. They have a great defense and be winning a lot of games. Ladd or Brian Thomas Jr. for a 7th keeper. Like a 7th round keeper, you mean? Math says Brian Thomas Jr., but personally you like Ladd more. Does it make sense to go Ladd or Brian Thomas Jr.? Well, straight up, yeah, Brian Thomas Jr. is a better keeper because he's a better pick. You're just getting more value at that spot. I think it is close enough to where, like, go with your gut. They're both, obviously, if this is a 7th round keeper or a 7th player, it doesn't really matter. They're both great keepers. So it's not like you're keeping someone who's going to be a bad value. If you've got a gut feeling, if you've got a gut feeling that Ladd is going to have 110 receptions this season, going to have like a Pete Keenan Allen year, that he's just going to dominate, go for him. It's close enough where you should just be doing that. But again, math-wise, yeah, it says go Brian Thomas Jr. Although in full, what's the difference here? The full PPR, it's not crazy different. It's, 269.7 points for Brian Thomas Jr. It's a decent amount. It's about 20, 25 points. So it's a drop down. I would keep Brian Thomas Jr., but it's not the end of the world if you want to just like make a call. Because again, you're not technically drafting that. You're just keeping. And especially if you think in the future, like if this is like you can keep back-to-back years and you like long-term a little bit more for Ladd, then that's fine. Okay, we would have definitely gone with Njoku there. But I would also gladly take Dallas Goedert. Okay, yeah, Dallas Goedert. We can hold off on Quentin, kind of hope we get him at the next pick maybe. Rashad White is an option for us, but I just think Dallas makes more sense. If I get Hawkinson and Goddard, I'm feeling pretty good about that combination. I don't know that I need a third, and this is a good spot to be in. So when we look at our quarterback, Fields, Herbert, we look at our tight end, Hawkinson, Goddard. If we get into a spot where, we keep liking the running back and receiver values, it's viable for us to only have 2 of each of those. We can go with a third if we want to, but we don't have to take a third of either one. So we're strong at both of those. We don't have to be reaching anywhere, but we can build out really, really strong running back room, wide receiver room. And honestly, this wide receiver room is sick. Lamb, Ladd, Garrett Wilson, DK Metcalf, and Jerry Jeudy. This could be like a, 2-7, would it be 6-2 build? I don't know. I don't know if the math worked out there, but we can do a lot of running backs with this build to kind of make up for not drafting them for a while. So excited about that potential. I think we just take Benson because of that, unfortunately Quentin Johnston went. Because if we're just going to draft a lot of these running backs and just kind of take shots on, can these guys break out? And I feel good enough about this wide receiver room. Actually kind of want to go here. Then I don't know. I feel like it just puts us in a really good spot to just keep taking shots on these handcuffs. Because last year it didn't work out. No one really hit for deep hand. I mean, some hit, but like all the elite running backs stayed healthy last season. But we could easily run into a year where a lot of these elite running backs get injured. And if you just pile up some teams that have all these handcuffs and you still feel good about everything else, you got a lot of upside in that team. Does the draft package on your site include a draft day cheat sheet type thing at all? I guess I don't 100% know what you mean by that, but if you mean just like the printed rankings, yes. It's going to have the 2 major things you would want are the must draft list, which I think I'm going to start writing soon. It's going to come out soon, but it gets updated throughout the offseason. But yeah, the printable rankings are really nice. I did an update for them this year where you can print it all on one page. So you can see like all the positions like neatly formatted into one page. You can do that for every ranking site. So if that's what you mean, yes. But that in combination with the must draft list are probably like the best 2. And honestly, I would probably just go in, print off the rankings beforehand if you're like looking for that sort of thing. I do that for the in-person drafts. Print it off, and I would truly just like highlight or make a star next to like not only the must draft players, but just players you like. Like just fill out the list and to be like, these are the players I'm targeting. Just kind of help yourself out a little bit. But also the notes, all the player notes are going to be really helpful as well. But that wouldn't come on the cheat sheet because that'd be too many player notes. Obviously, some of these notes are massive. Like there's so much information there. I would read through those before the draft. Okay. You're unsure what to do with the trio of Waddle, Travis Hunter, and Zay Flowers going back-to-back drafts right now. So I would not draft Zay Flowers personally. You'll get that take on the Friday video. I just don't see any sort of ceiling. He's barely going to have any touchdowns. He needs so many receptions to make up for it, and you just know the volume is not going to be high for that team because they have so many great playmakers. I'll do the other 2 in a second, but I wouldn't draft Zay Flowers. Okay, we're 164. We don't need tight ends. We're not going to do that. Pat Bryant is a good pick here. I would be fine with like Wandale or Douglas. Jaylen Wright's another one of the handcuffs. I think I like Pat Bryant a little bit more though. And we don't have Carolina, so it wouldn't really make sense for us to take Tua. We also don't have Miami. Okay, Pat Bryant. I feel like he's been dipping a little bit. He may have peaked at that like 160 ADP, come back down. But also, he's a guy that could really rise in camp. If people really think he can win that number 2 job, he's going to be going up by ADP. This next pick is going to be interesting. So right now we're at a 2-4-6-2 build. We have 15, 16, 17, 18. So we have 4 picks left. We can probably just do running back and receiver for those 4. I feel good about this wide receiver room. I think I'll probably still draft 7 and do a 2-6-7-2 build, but I wouldn't hate going 3 running backs and 1 receiver because I feel so good about all these receivers contributing this season. I don't know. I really wouldn't hate it. So who are some running backs? We would take Jaylen Wright at the next pick. I'd be fine with Rico. I honestly wouldn't hate going Braylon Allen and kind of making a bet on like, what if Breece Hall gets injured? I do like Isaiah Davis, but like Braylon Allen is still the top guy there. At this point, Roschon every single day, if they're not going to sign a running back, he makes sense. Yeah, Braylon Allen. I don't think we have to go to like this Lloyd Shipley range. I think it's probably too early to do that. So these 4 running backs, taking one of them at 173, I think is sharp. At receiver, yeah, I just don't see a need to go receiver here, especially given how strong we are. So I would take one of these 4. I wouldn't do anything else at this pick. And then, yeah, I don't know. I feel like I want to take a lot of running backs here because I feel good about this build, guys. I feel really good about this build. Between the other two, it would help to know your format, if it's full PPR or half PPR. So here for the cookies, throw that in there if you haven't somewhere. Upside-wise, I like Waddle a lot. You guys know that. I think my gut says Waddle, but wow, none of them. Interesting. All right, so we'll just take Jaylen Wright. I mean, he's definitely... I like Ollie Gordon, but he's still like the clear backup there. I think upside-wise, I'd want to go with Waddle. I like Travis Hunter, but I also feel like Travis Hunter might be a player we can acquire in trades, maybe earlier in the season, and that could be a move. Yeah, I think Waddle and then Travis Hunter. Another super chat. Been following for 3 years now. Love the videos. Appreciate it. Full PPR, 2 wide receiver, 2 flex league. Would you keep Rashee Rice in the 6th round? I'll get to you here for the cookies in a second. Rashee Rice in the 6th round or Chase Brown in the 11th. I'm going to poo-poo Chase Brown in an upcoming video, and I would still keep Chase Brown in the 11th. It's just better value. They're both valued very, very similarly. Full PPR, I would probably still prefer Rashee. But like, that's a 5-round difference. And you lock in a running back that, like, you know, maybe I think he's being overdrafted a little bit in the early 3rd round, but someone that clearly has an insanely high ceiling, someone that's on a great offense, and you lock in a running back. So if you get into the draft and there's no real running back value you like, you have that fallback. Whereas if you take Rashee in the 6th, you do lose that 6th round pick, and that is still kind of one of the really good rounds. But it also doesn't give you the hero out. So you are forced one of your first 3 rounds to definitely take a running back. I don't know. I think Brown's just a better value, and he mitigates risk a little bit more. And that's coming from someone who even thinks he's being overdrafted right now. Back to you for the cookies on best ball underdog. Yeah, I think especially in best ball, I want Waddle because I think the ceiling is just a little bit higher. So it takes away the trade thing, but I think the ceiling's a little bit higher for Waddle. So I would prefer to go after him, especially weekly ceiling. Okay, 188. I like me some Slayton, but we only have 1 running back or wide receiver pick left, I think. So uneasy there. I think Shipley is probably the move. We can maybe force Lloyd out around. No, they took Slayton anyways. I don't think there's any really Jets or Chargers players there. I think Shipley makes sense. If Saquon goes down, Shipley's going to have an unbelievable role. Obviously, we don't have Saquon on this team, so that's all we're doing in these rounds. Does James Conner go down? We have Benson. Does HN go down? We have Jaylen Wright. Does Saquon go down? We have Shipley. Those are all these bets we're allowed to make now that we feel so strongly about the original part of the team. There we go. We have 2 picks left. Okay, 2 picks. Next question. You hate taking Jefferson at 2. Again, that's best ball. I really think in a redraft league, you're taking Saquon. You're probably taking Bijan at that like 2-3 spot. But in best ball, with it being a very wide receiver centric format with wide receivers kind of running out a little bit. And also when you get to 2, I have seen a lot like Bucky and JT are such good picks in the late 2nd round. And a lot of people like Jacobs and Chase Brown, but I like JT and Bucky are really good picks. And you feel a little bit uneasy going like Saquon and Bijan, and then also those 2, because wide receiver just comes out being a lot more thin, that it's another reason to maybe start doing it. Okay, I would 100% take Marshawn Lloyd here. I don't think there's a wide receiver that could really change my mind. All right. What number running back was that? Was that our 7th? We just started hammering running backs, but I love it. Running backs now are Ken Walker, Caleb Johnson, Scadaboo, Benson, Wright, Shipley, Lloyd. Someone in that group is going to break out as a community. They're going to be able to fill that running back 2 spot. I still feel great about our wide receivers, but we probably should end on one more receiver. Wouldn't have to, but it probably makes sense for us to do that. I like this team. I think this is one of the best teams here. So if you're even on round 1, guys, who do you start? Oh, I already answered that. Startup Dynasty, 10-team Superflex auction format. Okay. First time in this format like this, recommendations the best way to approach a draft like this. Tools on the site. There are tools. There's a really good auction tool that you can just pop right up and just kind of draft with that going. Accounts for inflation, deflation, kind of lets you budget different types of draft builds. Personally, in Superflex, my goal is really just to have 3 quarterbacks I feel good about and then draft normally after that. So not saying you draft 3 quarterbacks in a row. I wouldn't do that. Definitely don't draft 2 quarterbacks in a row. But I would want 3 quarterbacks in that top like 24. If you want to go 3 quarterbacks in that like 12, 13, 14 range, go for it. Like kind of just make sure you don't fall too far behind. Other than that, in Superflex, I'm probably foregoing elite quarterback and saying, you know, I can probably, like I kind of said before, I can get 2 tight ends for $2. Like I could spend $2 on 2 different tight ends and get something I feel pretty decent about. So if that's the case, spend little on tight end. I would probably hyper focus on that like May, McCarthy, May, McCarthy, Goff, Herbert, Lawrence, Dak, Penix, Kyler, Fields. Like I would kind of be focusing on there and just make sure you maybe just get 3 of those guys. If you want to get one of the expensive ones, that's fine. But I just try to get the best value amongst that group. And then everything else is just, what do you got? Like, what do you have left? If you didn't spend on running or tight end, you spent a little bit on quarterback, you can probably afford to go after like a hero build, kind of grab your favorite like 1st, 2nd round running back. Just kind of play around with how things look in that way. Okay, if we went with a receiver, it's probably Andre. I don't really know who else it would be. I don't hate it though. Let's do it. Let's try the 2-8-6-2 build. It's not an optimal build. I just don't think Andre is really going to add much to our team here. I think I just feel good enough about the 6 that we have. Lamb, Ladd, Garrett, Metcalf, Jeudy, Pat. I feel good enough about that 6 to where I don't think Andre is really going to add that much to the team. Add another handcuff running back, another explosive. I think running back is just going to be locked and loaded for us now. And I feel good enough about quarterback. I don't like the quarterbacks in this range ever anyways. Tight ends, I don't think that was going to add any value. So interested to see how this build kind of holds up, but we'll see. All right. We did that one. I'm going to draft or sign into another on my phone. We're going to do another Best Ball Mania, and then we will hop on out of here. 22nd Best Ball Mania. We'll see how quickly we can join into that one. So join into that if you guys want to join into one. Looks like there's still 9 spots left, so plenty of room. We'll go down here. Go to the draft. We will delete this other one. Again, I thought the team worked out pretty well. It probably made more sense to go with the 7th receiver, but I didn't see any that really made sense for us. Okay. Your stand this year is in Drake London. You know, you say he's a top 13 or so player. There's a top 13 or so player, but you put London in that tier. I'd be fine with that take. Yeah, I think there's a pretty clear, 13 ending with Brian Thomas. But yeah, Henry and London are like right outside that grouping. Again, I think there's a drop off, and projections wise, I have it as a 18-point difference between London and Brian. But yeah, I mean, You look at the Falcons offense this year. They have a terrible defense. They play plenty of dome games because they have the dome. Their division has a horrible defense, so they're going to get 6 games in division against those defenses. And if their defense is also bad, that's 6 shootout games. That's plenty more games on top of that where their defense is going to get run over and they're throwing the ball a ton. And it's easily Bijan, London. Those are the top 2. Mooney's a great number 2, but he's number 2. Pitt's probably never going to command a high target share. So, yeah, London has the opportunity to command a lot of targets this season, and they're probably upgraded targets because Penix is probably better than what Cousins was providing last year. Will you do a weekly winners draft? I don't know. I think the format actually makes a lot of sense, and I actually feel like I'm pretty good at the format, but I got to be drafting these best ball mania teams because I'm going to run out of we're gonna do a Saquon build, kind of what we were talking about before that Saquon's been following. I got to draft these best ball mania teams because pull it up. I need to max enter this contest, and I have like 90 something draft stuff left to go. I don't have enough days to do them. Biggest thing on weekly winners is truly just that you want to take a hyper stand because all you need to do is hit like twice. And so what I did last year on the teams is like literally draft like one quarterback. Draft one quarterback, hyper stack that team, go for complete and utter just ceiling for every single pick. And know that who cares if you have a couple weeks that are bad, because in the weeks that your quarterback does great, find the stacks. So go find a quarterback, stack them up a ton for that team, hyper stack it, but then also just pick random games. Be like, okay, who is he playing week 6, 7, 8, 9? Just try and get that roster. And there's going to be random times with every single quarterback that they're going to go off. Like you could even do a one quarterback build with like Penix and just be like, okay, Penix is my only quarterback. I'm drafting all the Falcons players, pull up the Falcons roster and just start stacking different games there. I think that's the best strategy you can do. Why is Pittman ranked so low? Yes, he had an abysmal season, but isn't he still very talented, proven success, potentially better quarterback play, etc.? Yeah, I have no idea why he's so low. He'll be in the video tomorrow talking about my favorite players. Pittman had a broken back, literally all of last season, a broken back. Like they had Josh Downs was doing an interview being like, I was kind of battling through some things, but I look over in the locker room and I see Michael Pittman over there playing with a broken back that no one thought he could play through, something that like almost everyone gets season-ending surgery for, and he's going out there. So how can I not go out there, right? Like it was something in the locker room that they're like, how on earth is this kid actually going out there and playing with the least accurate quarterback in the league? So that's going to be upgraded this season. Daniel Jones will be more accurate than Anthony Richardson. And if AR starts its games, it's because he's improved in accuracy. And even if he did as well as last season, he'll still return value. Like he was like 52nd, he's going 50th. So like literally the world has to fall apart again this season. He's a phenomenal player, immensely talented, great role in the team, plenty of dome games. Like it just makes all the sense in the world to try and get as much of him as possible in draft. So yes, he is undervalued significantly this year. Wide receiver one season then coming from London? Yeah, I think that can definitely happen. Usually go tight end late and quarterback and try and hit on multiple running backs in 7-9. I think that's a good strategy. Okay. We got Saquon. We're going to be at pick 21. Why don't we try a Bowers build? Be interesting to see. So we went very wide receiver heavy to start last draft. This draft, what if we take a running back and a tight end to start things off? We have no wide receivers through 2. How can we kind of still figure out the wide receiver position? Be interested to see. Typically not a fan of keeping quarterback in a one quarterback league, but Bo Nix is in the 14th, good enough value to use him. Your other options are quite weak. I would want to see, Vince, give me the other options. I still want to see what they are. Because I agree with you. I really don't want to keep quarterback. 14th is fine, but it's not like it's an amazing value for Bo Nix. I'll be honest. I would try out a double tight end build if they let me do it. If not, we'll take Marv. Like, should we do it? I know it's the two week 8 buys, but I think I want to try it. I get McBride. I get Bowers. I hope that every single other tight end does absolutely nothing this season. They are the top 2 by a mile. You kind of be fading Kittle doing something. I don't really care. Like, I'm giving up like 7 points of value in this week 8. And if there's someone in like the final week we want to take, sure. Or like the final round. But I want to see this happen. if we can advance with this sort of build, what it allows us in the advancement weeks is like, what if we could advance and Trey McBride stinks this year? He has 0 touchdowns. He's not that involved. He has a low advancement rate, and he stinks in week 15, and maybe Bowers goes off. I could get a week 17 Trey McBride at 2% rostered, and he's capable of being the number 1 tight end by 10 points. And all of a sudden, like, that's something that can win you $1 million or $2 million in this format. I don't think it's going to happen because I think he's going to be very involved. I think these two are going to be amazing. And if they can just flip-flop nuke weeks, I'm crushing everyone in this in this spot at the position. Million dome games. I actually need, you guys need to look at this. Okay, hold on. Cardinal schedule. Like, I know that I talk about it a lot, but look at the Cardinal schedule this season. Okay. At the Saints, dome and a terrible defense. Home versus the Panthers. Dome, terrible defense. At the 49ers, they're outside, but it's in California in September. It's going to be fine weather. Home versus the Seahawks. Home versus the Titans. At the Colts. Oh, look, another dome game. Home versus Green Bay. Bye. At Dallas, another dome game. At Seattle, week 10. That is the first time all season that we're looking at a potential bad weather spot. Then it's home versus San Fran. Good weather. Home versus the Jaguars. Good weather. At the Bucks. Okay, we got a Florida game. Probably going to be good weather. Home versus the Raiders, at the Texans in a dome, home versus Atlanta, at the Bengals. That's one spot where, like, maybe it's bad weather, but it's also at the Bengals. Bengals have a bad defense, a great offense. That game's probably going to be a shootout. Like, every single game besides the one at Seattle, you're looking at it being like, this could go off. Like, every single game. So, I don't know. I'm kind of all in on Arizona. I just think, again, it's a unique build, but, like, I want to be all in on the Cardinals this season. All right, did he say anything? No. Vince, I need the other players. It was Vince, right? Yes. All right. If Lamar or Allen fall to that pick, would you do it? That pick. I don't know what pick you're talking about, but I don't know, probably. I'd draft them in pretty much any format. Okay, we're going to be up in a second here at pick 45. Okay. Well, DJ Moore. And there's really no discussion around that. We need wide receiver. We need upside. Bears players have upside this season. He's a top wide receiver by ADP and the rankings. Really no discussion to go there. Great pick. You're in a hometown auction league with draft data and prices back 5 years. What formula can I use to combine the average draft price for each position rank and your FFA value? I wouldn't combine FFA value. Let me think about that for a second. I'd more just create a metric based on where players go by position and see how it differs from this season and see if you can identify like different tier breaks, or more so just like I would identify trends in your league. So I would say like, does my league, because I would honestly compare it to average ADP from those years. Does my league take quarterback late, tight end late? Like, what does my league do in particular? I think we have to go Travis Hunter at this spot. I'd be fine with Walker, but we need wide receivers. We need high upside wide receivers. Yeah, like I would pull that into a spreadsheet. I would find, you can get free ADP data. This is a site I use, Fantasy Data. You go to the ADP tab. They're going to give you ADP data by year. They don't have half PPR, which is weird. Just use full PPR. They're going to give you like updated ADP data. I don't know. Premium access. You only get a top 100, I guess. And it's not like the most accurate in the world. I think. Let me see. I feel like you can go back years on Fantasy Pros. So if you went to like Fantasy Pros half PPR, I swear there's a way. Like, I don't remember the URL. Boom. Wait, did it work now? They took it away. I think there's a way to go back in years from Fantasy Pros. Maybe they figured that out and they went back on it. But I would just find historical ADP data. You can get it somewhere. Where does your league differ? Do they take running back, wide receiver, quarterback, tight end in like different ranges? And that's what I would use. I wouldn't really attach FFA value. I would just kind of find out where you should be focusing in the draft. Kyron is going on the opposite side of the board is absurd. Well, I think that was from the last draft. Kyron. Where did he go in this one? Wow, he went at 41 in this one. So at 41, I can get behind that for sure. 4th round, Kyron, that makes sense. Maybe you were talking about him going over here. Yeah, I talked about him also in the video of a player I don't draft that much because he typically goes closer to the early 3rd round. If he's going to get pushed back into the mid 4th, we're definitely going to start taking some of him. Yeah, I just don't know exactly when that question was, but yeah. What's up with the crown icon? I have no idea. I'll be honest with you. I have no idea why some of you have crowns and numbers next to it. I don't know if that's an update that YouTube did. I don't know how you could possibly assign anything for that because I'm not actually, like, how could they know I'm like talking about certain people? But maybe it's based on how often you guys post. I have no idea, but it's got to be something good, right? You'd imagine. Okay. 69. We don't have Bengals. It's a pretty good value for Burrow, though. We're obviously not going tight end there. I don't like the wide receivers here, but Godwin. Travion makes more sense. I don't really want Godwin. Would we go with a naked Burrow? No, I think we go Travion. That's actually a tough one. I kind of wish I had, and that's why when you get the like Chase, Higgins, you can get Burrow at a sick value with that stack. I don't think it made sense for us to grab him. Yeah, the Higgins team gets him, but if we went with him there, it would have probably been a good pick. Okay, Dynasty wide receivers: London, Ladd, AJ Brown, T. Higgins, Egbuka, Metcalf, Luther Burden, Noel, Pat Bryant. I think I should consolidate some of that top end target stick with these guys. Well, I mean, you have like what, 4 top 15, 16 wide receivers. Like, I don't know how much consolidating you can do. And in Dynasty, I love Egbuka. I would say Metcalf. If you want to consolidate, like Metcalf plus Burden and see if you can get an upgrade. Oh, I'm at 6 picks. Oh, no. What do we got here? Myers. I forgot that I was going to be on the board there. If you want to consolidate Metcalf and Luther Burden, I think that's probably your best combination to get an upgrade. But I would hold on to London, Ladd, AJ Brown, T, Egbuka. I would hold on to that 5. Unless someone's like in love with T. If someone was in love with T and you did like T and Luther for a good upgrade, that would be fine too. Going 2 quarterbacks this early is a death trap. That's definitely about the last draft, and I don't know how early the people went, but maybe they're talking about this. Josh Allen and Jaylen. Here's the thing. Nothing's a death trap. Like, when you are thinking about trying to beat 600,000 people, you got to be unique. Also, I know everyone wants to think, you got to be drafting based on everything working out. For the most part, yes. Like, when you do a build, you're going to be like, okay, I've started with this team. I should probably make a bet on this team doing good. Those are the best teams. But you don't think there's a scenario where Jaden Daniels gets hurt in week 4, misses 8 weeks of the season. Jaden Daniels is going to have an incredibly low advancement rate. And then maybe has a bad week 15. But you have Josh Allen. And Josh Allen drops a nuke. And so Josh Allen has a really high advancement rate, helps you get through week 15. And then all of a sudden, Jaden Daniels is 2% roster. I kind of mentioned it before with Brock Bowers. That's how you can do these things. Like, that's how they can work out to where Jaden Daniels can score 40 fantasy points. If it's 2% rostered, typically it's unlikely that like your pool of like 15 people would have him and you'd advance. And if that happens to you, especially in the last week, there's so much upside there. So I would never look at something that's suboptimal because it's suboptimal over time and say you can't do it. If you're looking at these picks and you're saying, man, I just don't like the other players there, I have done sometimes these double elite wide receiver because all these are elite quarterback. These quarterbacks are a pretty solid discount from what we've historically gotten for them. And so you're locking in 2 great quarterbacks at that discount. I would not bat an eye at doing that. Okay, we would have 100% taken Pittman there, but we don't. We would have also taken Kyler. We can't get that. That stinks. All right. We don't have Tampa Bay. We should probably get Geno later on. I think we have to go Cooper Kupp at this pick. I'd also be fine if we went with Mason there, but I think we have Saquon and Travion. I don't know that we needed that. Again, we need these receivers to kind of work out. We're starting to build that receiver room, but that kind of stinks. Yeah, I want Jordan Mason with this pick. I don't think I'm going to get him, though. I'd be good with Warren as well. I don't think I'd want any other running back besides that. I'd be good with Shaheed and Jaden. We're not taking tight end. Quarterback. No, we've missed out on all the Bucks guys. We could go Bo Nix. But, like, I'm kind of making the bet on Chicago here. And we can get Chicago later on. So it might make sense to go Caleb. We don't have Jets, so we're not going to do Fields again. I think Caleb would make more sense there, but what's my next pick? 117. Do I risk Caleb being there 117? I think if Warren's on the board, I'm taking him. I might take Shaheed too. This guy's probably going to take Warren though, yeah. All right, let's take Caleb. Let's not risk it. We'll take Caleb. We have the Caleb DJ Moore stack. We'll hope to get Loveland, who's been falling a lot. I've seen Loveland fall a decent amount in drafts, which makes no sense. Everyone knew he wasn't going to be playing a lot last season or during the camp. Please do a video on the wide receivers going to 1-2 turn. Brian Thomas, A.J. Brown, Amon-Ra, Nico Neighbors. They all feel like the same pick to me. Yeah. It is tough in that range. I will say, I think Nico Neighbors is kind of clearly the top end there. I think then it's like Amon-Ra and Brian Thomas, and then I think it's A.J. Brown. I think A.J. Brown's very clearly fifth in that grouping, just because you know that team's not going to throw the ball a lot, and even though he has a great target share, if they're not going to throw it, I mean, you can only be so good, right? Pretty sure the rankings have it Neighbors, Nico, Amon-Ra, Brian Thomas, A.J. Brown. I think that makes the most sense. Neighbors has 200 target upside, is an unbelievable talent. I just don't know if I can pass up his potential target share and the potential of improved quarterback play on top of that. Like, there's so much potential for Neighbors to be like the number one wide receiver this season. So I want to be hammering Malik Neighbors. Nico Collins, it's a similar story. I think a little bit more target competition, but a little bit better quarterback play. He's also a phenomenal player that I just don't think you could go with those other two over him. Amon-Ra, the knee surgery concerns you a little bit, but I mean, if anything, Detroit's going to throw the ball at a higher rate, going to have to play from behind a little bit more often this season, and he's still amazing, so I'd want him. Brian Thomas has some potential for Travis Hunter, but I mean, he was going off with Mac Jones, so having Trevor Lawrence in there, I think just the Travis Hunter concerns you enough to where I think I'd throw him there. And then again, I think A.J. Brown's kind of after that, but maybe we'll have a video at some point going over those guys. Okay. We're going to be up here. Bo Nix is still on the board. What the heck? Okay, well, we would go Bo Nix at this spot. He gets taken. Tyrone makes the most sense. There's no receiver that makes that much sense. I like Najee, but Tyrone, I mean, we're at 117. Like, this doesn't make any sense in the world. He's there. And hey, one of our builds, we've got Cam. One of our builds, we've got Tyrone, whichever works out. That's kind of how I've been playing it, honestly, is like whichever one falls, because they go next to each other, and just random times Tyrone goes late, and random times Cam Scadaboo goes late. And again, some of those teams are going to really benefit. Some aren't, but you're really playing this for one team making it to the end. And I do, if I had to bet right now, I would say that Tyron Tracy Jr. is a better running back than Cam Scadaboo. So I would assume that he's the guy more often than not. Okay, the team's doing well. Again, we have this risk here of Bowers, McBride. We're not going to take another tight end. We honestly aren't even that weak, though, at these other spots. Wide receivers are weakest. I would definitely take Najee if he's available at this pick. Purdy is also cratering, and we don't have any guys there, and we want to take Geno late, but like just the value of Purdy at that spot would probably be too good to pass up. McCarthy, we don't have Minnesota, but I would even consider him. All right, we're going to get sick value on one of these picks. Okay, so Purdy does go. We'll just take Najee here. Did this person get a stack with him? Oh, they didn't. That would have been really nice if they got a stack. But yeah, that was too good of value to pass up there. Yeah, Najee. Najee's going to play, man. Like, Najee is going to get touches on this team. He's going to be annoying probably if you drafted Amari and Hampton. But Najee's still a proven running back. It's going to be a not top 5 offensive line, but top 10. Good team, high-scoring team. Najee's going to be good. He's going to be a good pick. At 124, he's going to be a phenomenal pick. Can you briefly break down Jeudy versus CMC full PPR? You've targeted CMC since his rookie year, but Jeudy seems so much safer if you've ignored the NFL unknown factor. So in full PPR, McCaffrey has that ceiling to have 80 receptions. And I don't think that's something that's really in the range of outcomes for Ashton Jeudy. McCaffrey is also a player that, like, when healthy, is just objectively a top 3 running back in fantasy, is probably the number 1 running back in fantasy. People can point to last season and be like, oh, well, not last season. Coming off of injury for like 3 games where he just didn't score. Like, you got to remember that, like, that's such a low sample size. He's going to be unbelievable in fantasy when he's out there. Much higher injury risk, but much higher ceiling. So it's really just, what do you want? Like, do you want to take a shot on the potential number 1 overall quarterback or running back? Or do you want to take Jeudy, who has a much more likely chance of staying healthy? Probably is not going to be the number 1 running back. He'll have a very large role, but on the Raiders, it's just not a good enough offense probably to produce the number 1 running back. So his most likely range is probably 4 through 8, like in that spot, but like extraordinarily likely to finish in that range. So do you want to play it safer or do you want to go for upside? I mean, it really just is up to you. If I were in my main league, it'd be a tough call, but I probably would go McCaffrey. I'd probably say, I want ceiling. I want to risk it. Yeah, I'd probably go McCaffrey personally, but it's got to be your personal risk tolerance. How early would we take Harvey in Dynasty? I mean, are we talking about a rookie draft probably? Let's see. He's like a mid-first round pick in rookie drafts. But I'll pull up Dynasty here. We'll pull up. So I have right now Dynasty rookie drafts as Jeudy. Hold on. Let's make sure we actually get a pick in here first. All right, we're up. We have 18 seconds here. 140. Gross. Do we take Stroud? We don't have any Houston. We can go later. I don't really want Stroud, though. No, let's go Quentin. This is a gross pick, though. I think we go Quentin because we don't really have enough of the wide receiver room. Although Besh probably made more sense. But Besh has been cratering in drafts. So maybe we'll get Besh at the next pick. I don't think Stroud makes sense for us because Stroud, you're going to need one of his pass catchers. He's not going to do anything on the ground. Will need a quarterback, but I don't think he makes sense. We're going to want Geno, but he's at 162, so we don't need him with the next pick. So maybe that's how we want it, is Besh and then Geno. There's no one else really. I don't see it. I was looking for other quarterback stacks that we can eventually do. Yeah, I think that's got to be our play. I guess Jaden Blue, Besh or Jaden Blue here. I'd be fine with Leggett or maybe Dobbs as well. So maybe that's how we play it. Besh, Blue, Leggett, Dobbs. We'll take one of them. Besh being the one we want. Yeah, so it's Jeudy, Hampton, Travis Hunter, Tet. I feel like it... Who just took Geno at 146? Completely uncorrelated? That's a horrible pick. As your third, that's a horrible pick. I don't know why they did that. All right. Screw it. I'm still taking them. We need receivers. I'm still taking Besh. That made no sense that person would take him. Okay. That's the top 4. in Dynasty. I don't think there's very many arguments to be made that you can do something else. Genty's the easy 101. I think Hampton's a pretty easy 102. I think it's Hunter over Tet, but if you want to go Tet over Hunter, that's fine. After that 4, there's a drop-off. I think Henderson makes sense after that. Patriots ascending offense, better draft capital, better age, less competition year 1. I know they have Stevenson, but I still think that's probably less competition. Better chance that he's starting right away. But then I think it's Travion, or I think it's Harvey. So Travion, then Harvey. And then I think you get into like Egbuka, Golden, and then that running back duo of like Caleb Johnson, Judkins. And then I think it's the 2 tight ends. And this is for a regular. If it's super flex, you throw Caleb and like Jackson Dart into like the mid first round. But basically Harvey is that 6 pick or the 8 pick in super flex. New UI is definitely noticeable. It is. And I think I like it. You're going 3 starting running backs is the move because they have separate bye weeks. You have a flex. I don't know what that was in relation to. All the drafts I've been doing, people have been taking running backs very often early. Correct, because it happened last year. And everyone just assumes that whatever happened last year is going to happen this year. And so everyone wants to take running backs early, which means you should probably take wide receivers early this season because the odds are not every single wide receiver is going to fall apart like they did last year. Okay, that's our option there. We're probably going Pat Bryant again in this one. We don't want to go tight end because we have our 2 tight end build. I don't know what the heck we're doing at quarterback. I mean, it's just like cooked for us. Everyone decided that they want to draft every quarterback in the world. Maybe actually we're going with, let's go with Wandale. So we have the out. And if someone takes Dart, we'll just take Russell Wilson. But like we have the out of Jackson Dart now. But yeah, I mean, what the heck? Like I need to pull up this board. Why is everyone taking a million quarterbacks? It's like, so I know something came out. Is it actually causing this sort of like overall shift in the quarterback market? Someone came out where they ran a sim and 3 quarterbacks is optimal over time. I don't know if that's causing it. I don't know. I don't know what exactly is causing it, but I've seen this happen a few times recently. Like everyone needs to build a 3 quarterback team for some reason, and it's pushing other players back. And it's like really just quarterbacks are going earlier than they used to earlier in the summer. But again, I don't know exactly what's causing it. Okay, Roshan, Pat Bryant are pretty clearly the 2 there. I was looking at like what I could do with Rodgers, but there's really nothing. So we'll go Pat Bryant because again, I think he's just a great value right now. We now have 1482. Okay, so we're done at wide receiver. DJ Moore, Travis Hunter, Myers, Cup, Quentin, Besh, Wandale, Pat Bryant. That's great. We don't need anything else there. We've gotten good value in some of these guys. We're done at tight end. Bowers, McBride. We're good. Running back, Saquon, Henderson, Tracy, Harris will have picks 16, 17, 18. 3 picks left. We could probably afford to honestly go with 1 running back. So we'll have 1 running back and we'll take 2 quarterbacks. One of our quarterbacks will be either Dart or Russell Wilson. I prefer Dart to Russell Wilson. We could probably take Rodgers uncorrelated as if we're doing a 3 quarterback build. It's probably fine to do. I don't think we have New Orleans, right? We don't have New Orleans. Don't think we have Indy either, although I hate drafting the Indy quarterbacks. We don't have Cleveland either, right? Maybe we should have gone Sam Darnold with Cooper Kupp at that last one. All right, not the end of the world, but it's not looking amazing for, I think the other build was probably a little bit better. Not looking amazing for our quarterback situation in this draft. But yeah, it's been happening recently. What is a good buy low offer for Breece Hall in Dynasty? You're competing. You'll have a late first. Is that enough? A late first round pick? Late first has a value of like low 20s, roughly. And Breece Hall, I mean, it shouldn't. It should cost you like Ugh. It should cost you a mid first round pick. So if you only have to give up a late first round pick, I'd be good with that for Breece Hall. Do another draft? Not after this one. This will be the second one. In a full PPR redraft, is Rasheed in the 6th or Brown? Okay, we already did that. I said Chase Brown. Both are excellent values. Okay, that was a different one. Okay, we're almost up here. We're going to be at pick 1. Okay, we should take Rodgers here. Again, I hate having the uncorrelated Rodgers, but it just gives us another quarterback that can randomly produce some points. I don't feel comfortable going Caleb Williams and Dart as my only 2 quarterbacks, especially because I'm pretty sure Dart is going to not start for the first month to 2 months. So I don't want every single score that Caleb Williams has. Could be unfortunate if Dart doesn't start by week 5, but it's kind of the reality of the situation that we find ourselves in. We'll take Dart in the next one, and then we'll probably draft a running back after that, or do we take Marshawn Lloyd? Because you guys know these are the 3 I want. I don't think someone's going to take Dart, and if they do, we can just take Wilson. So actually, I'm not too concerned about that. So I would do Lloyd first, I think. Lloyd, Keaton, Hunter, then we'll go Dart. Why not stack with Dak at this pick? I don't remember what situation we were in, but I think it was a reach. Dak a lot of times falls. I don't know. I just like getting quarterback at value, and Dak is one that I've seen him go at 120, 130 at times, people just being off of him. So I prefer just getting the stack at value because I'm going to be going up against teams that do. Like if I end up advancing in this one, I'm going to go against teams that have that exact same stack that have better value for me, so I don't want to just lock in worse value. Do we think Noel will be competition for Kirk or even take a spot? I think it's possible. I think to start the year, Christian Kirk is pretty locked in. I think by the end of the year, it's possible they're rotating a lot more, and that Jaylen Noel, who I think is a talented player, kind of mixes in. I don't think it's ever going to be like Jaylen Noel is the locked-in starter, Christian Kirk's on the bench, but I think Noel I think Noel would be more of a risk factor in drafting Christian Kirk than anything. So he could be someone where it's if you drafted Kirk just not out there enough to play, but I don't think Noel is going to be out there enough to play either. I think the 2 that you really want are going to be Nico and Higgins. Those are the guys that are going to be on the field a ton. Pat Bryant is such solid tape. You think he's going to translate well to the league? I agree. I think he's going to be a great pick. Draft him in both of these. Did you cash in any Underdog last season? I did. I ended up making a team into the Best Money Final. I think that was a 6 or a 7 grand payday. Don't expect to make it to the final every year. It is very, very difficult to actually make it to that final week. But we did. And honestly, I got very unlucky with that stupid Bengals-Denver game, dropping the nuke late. You're new here. Do you have any Dynasty content prior to NFL draft? Do you do more or any Dynasty? It's mostly on the website. It's mostly the rankings. We have the prospect profiles. We have obviously player notes for the guys. Not as much videos. They're just not. I don't have enough time to do videos before the NFL draft with all the things we work on in the off season. So it just becomes. Wait a minute. For a second, I thought I didn't have another pick, and I was like, no. Just becomes a situation where I just don't have time to make those videos. But there's definitely content on the website for it. Or you can ask in these live streams because I'll answer any Dynasty question. We've gotten a couple Ram stacks with mid-round picks. Who would you take, either Ferguson or Higbee? I would take Ferguson. So they're really excited about Ferguson. I think Higbee maybe has some sort of role, but they're going to start shifting over to Ferguson. And when that happens later in the season, you're going to want Ferguson. I think last round pick. No, I think upside is totally fine. If you're stacking up Stafford, you're going to need him to score decent amount of points. If he's going to do that, he needs 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, and Ferguson's probably going to hit on touchdowns. That's going to be how he hits his value. All right, we get Jackson Dart. We got to hope that he ends up being the starter by week 5. I think it's possible because he's good. I think he is the best quarterback even in week 1. I don't think the team was amazing, but I think we got out of it. So Caleb, Aaron Rodgers, Jackson Dart, I think is fine. Saquon, Henderson, Tyron Tracy Jr., Najee Harris, and Marshawn Lloyd, I think is a good running back room. We're locked and loaded with 1 million wide receivers, and then we have the Bowers-McBride cheat code. If we can get the alternating great weeks, McBride drops 25, and then Bowers drops 25 the other week. And we've isolated them to our roster, so everyone else is kind of hopefully fighting over mid-range options, and we can just rotate over who's just dominating the field. That's how this build can work out. And it can also kind of work out in that if one of them gets hurt, one of them misses time, one of them underperforms, we can have a low advancement rate and then hit in the final weeks. So that'll do it for this one. I think you guys are going to love tomorrow's video, so definitely tune in for tomorrow's video. I think it's a really good one, really long video. It's like 40 minutes long. You guys are going to like that, so definitely tune in for that one. But I'll catch you guys all on the Tuesday live stream next week. See you guys.